The question, Huzur, is if a snake bites somebody in the middle of a jungle and doesn't have any homeopathic remedies against it, then is it possible for him...
You won't have any medicine. Talking of homeopathy or allopathy, it doesn't make any difference. Huh?
So is it possible to if he kills the snake, for example, if he uses the venom of the snake to make a homeopathic medicine with water, is it possible?
You see, it's very difficult at that time. There's some snake poisons which are so quick in action that by the time he thinks of making a medicine, he would die. You see, the best treatment, the most effective treatment is immediately to put your lips to the wound and suck the venom. Before it begins to spread, suck as much venom with the blood as possible you can then spit it out. You see, and this venom of snakes is a high protein which you eat daily. Beef, meat, all meats are high proteins. But if they are introduced directly into the blood, they will coagulate the blood. So venom is nothing but protein, and a very highly concentrated protein. So if it is introduced directly, then it causes the death, otherwise it can't. So if you suck it, it will be quite safe. Even when there are other friends and persons, someone else can suck, but one caution should be taken. If one's mouth is injured and there is a sore in the mouth, so this venom sometimes is so powerful that it will act through the sore in the mouth. If somebody has ulcers in the stomach, he should take care, but I think the acid there will immediately dissolve it. But in the mouth it may work. So otherwise, I don't know any other system of treatment than this. When you are caught with in a situation in the desert, for instance, you can't find water, you can't find anything, immediately apply your mouth and suck it. Then forget about ulcers as well, because the venom is far more powerful than it can act through the ulcers.
Huzur, there was a little part of the question also left. That has Huzur had any experience of snakes at all?
Of course I have. Answer this question.
Oui. Alors.
Another thing which is very important to remember is that the snake, when it bites, it doesn't inject the venom during the biting process. But when it takes the head out, the teeth out like this, only then this saliva is pressed which contains the venom, and it injects during this movement. So if you know that you are bitten and it has not yet turned out itself, you break it away. Immediately hold the snake in your hand and push it away. No venom will be injected into you at all. So this is also one device which should be remembered by all who may unfortunately experience such a thing. And as far as my own experience is concerned, there used to be a gentleman by the name of Sahib of Qadian, whose father belonged to Quetta, and he used to give as dam Surah Fatiha. He used to recite Surah Fatiha 3 times or 7 times.
Yes, perhaps 7 times. Yes. 7 times, yes.
7 times and on the water, and breathe into that water and then give it to somebody, and used to claim that after that no snake will ever bite him. And if a snake has bitten anybody else and he repeats the dam, to cure that person, that water will work as a panacea for all problems created by snakes. Now this is a restriction, of course. He can't give dam to others, but he can cure persons who are bitten by snakes. So if when you have asked me for personal experience of snakes, I once inquired from Fazl-e-Ilahi Sahab, who was visiting Rabwa, that is it true? Are you sure? He said yes. I said, all right, I'll take them after I find out a very poisonous snake from my land in Ahmednagar. Fortunately for me, that was a time when the snakes come out of the burrows, and they are extremely poisonous at that time. During the sleeping period, their poisonous gets collected. So he was brave enough to accept the challenge. So I sent somebody to Ahmednagar, and he came back with a snake. They put some chadar, some cloth over the snake, and then got it before it could bite or anything. So they put it in earthenware and sealed it from above. So a very poisonous snake was brought. So I told him to give me the dam then. Then he gave me this dam of Surah Fatiha, and I put my hand into the earthenware and took out the snake and put it in my cloth here and there and did this and that all over my body. It didn't do anything. Then I pulled it out and held it in a way that he could still raise his head and bite. So I pushed my hand towards his head, and he just went limp. He didn't raise his head at all. So that gave me courage to do the same thing with other snakes. So Ahmednagar was full of snakes in those days. Many snakes used to come out of their burrows in Ahmednagar. And whenever there was harvest time and they noticed a snake in the trolley, for instance, when they were,
harvesting.
Harvesting the wheat, for instance.
Yes.
In the wheat there used to be snakes, and along with the bushels, the snakes also went into the trolley. So when the laborers detected some snake, they all ran away and left the work. And the harvest season was very busy season, so I couldn't afford to loss of time. No laborer would ever enter that trolley at all. So whenever the news reached me, I immediately rushed to Ahmednagar and searched for the snake and pulled it out, and it went limp. And then I cut its head. So they started their work again. Now this is my experience. Throughout my experience, many people were brought to me who were bitten by snakes. And I don't know a single death after I gave them the water with the Surah Fatiha. I remember once somebody was brought on a radar, what do you call it, trolley like, driven by a donkey, with the flat surface behind. So a poor person was bitten by a snake, and he was brought and he was almost unconscious. They took him to the hospital, and the doctor said nothing can be done for this man. Then they rushed him to me, to my house. It was close to the sunset, or after the sunset. So I immediately gave him the dam, as we call it. After reciting Surah Fatiha on water, you breathe into the water and give that water to the patient. And he got revived. So in my experience, there was not a single failure. But now I have a doubt. Maybe it was because I did not say Surah Fatiha alone, I just also prayed. But then the problem is that many people who were given dam, they didn't pray, they just read the Surah Fatiha and the dam worked. So there has to be some reason why it worked. We know this much, that Surah Fatiha is named by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as Shafa, as a surah of cure. So there is something in it which cures not only the spiritual ills but also the physical ills. After he has translated this, then I will tell you an incident in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, although it's getting late, but I came late, so I can compensate you for half the time I came late. I came late by 10 minutes, I'll give you 5 more minutes. Jazakumullah. Because this is a very interesting question. Let me finish it. First of all, let me tell you that Fazlullah Khan Sahib himself died of snake bite. There is a great controversy going on. What happened? Before he died, he himself had instructed the doctor not to inject him with any cure or the venom will work, because you must have full faith that the venom will not work. Unfortunately, it is said that the doctor, without his permission, injected him with a snake venom, antidote. And he died. People say, and he himself had felt that he would die because of this. But Allah knows best what happened. Since then I am a bit afraid of what so I don't want to put my life at risk unnecessarily. But whatever I have told you is correct. There is no shadow of doubt about it. But as far as the incident of the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is far more important, which should be told to you now. 2 companions of Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were on a tour, and they were suffering from hunger so much that although they were avoiding their hostile tribes, but it was impossible for them to do anything, because they would have died anyway with hunger. So they went to the hostile tribe and said maybe they have pity on us. So they captured them both and took them to the leader, because without his permission they couldn't kill them. Fortunately for them, the leader was suffering from a headache which could not be treated by anything known to them, and he was dying of a spitting headache. So he said, all right, have you got anything to cure me? If you cure me, we will give you food and we will let you go. So one person remembered Surah Fatiha, and he had also heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it is called Shifa, cure, the surah of cure. So he asked for some water and read Surah Fatiha and breathed into that water and gave him to drink that water, and he was immediately cured. As he drank the water, there was no headache. So he was so happy with them that he gave them food, the best food they had, and also gave them a goat or to carry along with them. So they were discussing this matter between them. They said this was haram food. The Holy Quran prevents you to sell the verses of the Quran. And when you recited Surah Fatiha, this is also Quran, and in exchange you got some food, this is like selling the Surah Fatiha. The other said, no, it's not that at all. We didn't lay any condition, number one. For selling, always there is a condition. We just dispensed of the treatment without any condition, number one. Number two, Surah Fatiha is exceptional because this is called Surah Shifa by Rasulullah. So he said, what we have eaten is not haram, is not forbidden food. And if you want to satisfy yourself, we'll go straight to Rasulullah and tell him about this. And they also were carrying some food along with them, some meat, etc. When Rasulullah heard this, he was very happy. And he said, have you brought some food with you? So they said, yes, they had some cold beef, they had some food with them. So give it some to me. And he ate of the food to satisfy the person who was in doubt. And said, how do you know? How did you know that Surah Fatiha could cure? He said, we have only heard from you. The person who did it said, I had heard from you that Surah Fatiha is Shifa. So that is why I did it. There is no other reason. Rasulullah smiled and accepted. Yes, that's right. So Shifa there is in Surah Fatiha, and Shifa from snake poisons as well. Fadlullah's father didn't die of snake bite. He went up to a ripe old age and died in natural death, and he had given snake poisons and the antidote to everybody just reading Surah Fatiha. And I also had this from him. So it's a long story, but very interesting. Can I take 2 minutes more? People are waiting for the namaz. He told me, his father, he showed me snake bites, two tooth bites in his finger. He said, when I did it, an old man used to come from the jungle once every Thursday. And people used to call him Baba of Snakes. And he used to give this thumb. So I didn't believe in anything, and he was a police officer at that time. So people were afraid. He said, look here, if anything happens to me, the police will kill you. So remember this. He said, oh, don't care this. He said, I'll ask for a snake which is the most poisonous snake in the area. In that desert, there used to be a snake like a finger, only this much long. And it was so poisonous that it was said that the moment it bites, immediately the patient dies. He can't live for an instant. So he asked his policemen to bring some snake from the desert. And they brought that snake. And he held it in hand. I said, now give me the dam. So he gave him the Surah Fatiha dam, and he tried this. He rubbed the snake at the tail and here and there, but it wouldn't do anything. So he got angry, the Fadlullah's father, late father, and did it so strongly, almost rubbed him very powerfully. So it got angry and it stuck. And he used to show me the 2 tooth marks. And he didn't pull it. He let it turn the snake and inject the poison. And the Baba said, he spit, put some saliva on the finger and touched it, nothing will happen. And he used to show me and said, look here, I'm still alive. So there is something in it. How it works, Allah knows better. But I have told you everything. The Fadl died himself for snake fights. Next time, inshallah, I have given you full 10 minutes. I was late by 10 minutes, so I have given you full 10 minutes. At the cost of the people waiting for the namaz there. But next time we'll begin with you. You and all this lot. If you come again. I hope so. All right?
Jazakumullah, sir.
Salima, how are you?